Good afternoon, everyone. The theme I've chosen for today's readings is Signs of Spring, New Life and Renewal. It is important at this time of year that whilst we're in the middle of an early rainy spring, we have things to look forward to, events that help us focus our minds on what is to come. New life is fundamental to growth. The small but significant signs of spring are essential for us to look forward to and grasp hold of as they give us hope and healing. A reading from Isaiah 43. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the desert and streams in the wasteland. The wild animals honor me, the jackals and the owls, because I provide water in the desert and streams in the wasteland to give drink to my people. And in Isaiah 55 it says, as the rain and the snow come down from heaven and do not return to it without watering the earth and making it bud and flourish, so that it yields seed for the sower and bread for the eater. So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. You will go out in joy and be led forth in peace. So we pray. Dear Lord, thank you for new beginnings and your unwavering provision. We trust in your peace as you watch over us as we step forward and experience new growth. Your love and grace promotes our physical, emotional, and spiritual development. So fill our hearts with the joy that comes from knowing you and walking in your ways. Help us to find happiness not only in external circumstances, but in the depth of our very being, so that we may experience new understanding and love which comes from walking in your presence day by day. Amen. A blessing. Bless us at this time of renewal and prayer. May the sunlight and rain be a blessing, a reminder that you are forever at work, renewing the face of the earth. As the God of renewal, you steadfastly work in our lives, opening our hearts and minds to change. Awaken in us the gift of new life and renewal. Amen.
Thank you very much, Jill. I think I've heard many a mayor say you're most welcome to stay if you so wish, but I don't think anyone will blame you if you wish to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, members, so I feel quite important here. Mr. Gardner, is the live stream up and running, please? Thank you very much. Don't overdo it, no, I know. Excuse me, members, we're in the uncharted territory whereby both the mayor and her deputy have sent their apologies for this afternoon's meeting. Excuse me. So therefore, are there any nominations for the role of mayor for the duration of this meeting, please? Councillor Ewings.
I would like to nominate Councillor Chris Edmonds. He had been selected this afternoon to be the deputy as the deputy mayor is away as well. So he's now been promoted to the mayor for the afternoon. So I would be delighted to propose Councillor Edmonds to chair this meeting today.
Thank you, Councillor Ewings. Is there a seconder, please?
Be happy to second that.
Thank you very much. Are there any other nominations for the role? No, therefore, members, all in favour of Councillor Edmonds, please show. Well, that's clearly carried. Councillor Edmonds, please take the hot seat.
Well, good afternoon, members and officers. Well, I certainly didn't expect to be sat here this afternoon, but I'm delighted to be so. So I'm afraid you're going to have to put up with me for a while. But my first duty, I think, is to wish our mayor well and hope that she's feeling better really soon. My second task is to appoint a deputy for the afternoon, just in case I fall over. Can I invite nominations for the deputy mayor, please?
I would like to propose Councillor Adam Bridgewater, because bless him, he happened to be sat in the wrong place at the wrong time. But I know he will do you an absolutely sterling job this afternoon.
Thank you, Leader. Have we a seconder, please? And a vote, please. Show of hands.
That is clearly carried, Mayor, for Councillor Bridgewater to be deputy for this meeting. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Councillor Bridgewater. So I guess that's us for the next hour or so. Right, well, let's move on to this afternoon's agenda. Item 1 is apologies. Mr. White, have we any apologies, please?
We have some, thank you, Mayor. We've got apologies from Councillors Daniel, Sellis, Ball, Mott and Blackman, and Councillor Blackman is on the Teams link.
Right, thank you. Item 2 is confirmation of minutes, and we have 2 sets of minutes today. The minutes for the 20th of February and the 5th of March. Members, you've all seen the minutes. I'm sure you've read them. Are you happy that they are a true and correct record of those meetings? Can we please show? All in favour?
Thank you, that's clearly carried for both sets of minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White. Item 3, declarations of interest. Members are invited to declare any disclosable pecuniary interest, other registrable interest and non-registrable interest, including the nature and extent of such interest they may have in any items to be considered at this meeting. Are there any declarations? Take that as a no, Mr. White. Item 4, communications from the Mayor. Well, I know that Councillor Daniel was going to thank you all for those who attended her civic dinner on Saturday evening. I understand it was a really good evening, so thank you to everyone who attended, particularly those who ventured onto the dance floor. I just wish I'd been there to see it. And of course, Councillor Daniel was going to present the mayoral awards after this meeting, but sadly she's not well enough to do that. But I'm pleased to say that the leader, Councillor Ewins, has stepped in and kindly offered to present the awards. So I believe there may be a cup of tea involved as well as a bit of an added incentive. And so I would ask all members, if they can, to stay on and be a part of that really important award ceremony. Item number 5 is business brought forward by the Mayor. I'm not aware of any items brought forward, Mr. White.
That's correct, thank you. There is one item, sorry.
Oh, sorry, there is.
Yes, there is an item, and it's going to be 3 of us doing this one item. This is to congratulate officers, staff and members for the excellent peer challenge review that took place last week. Thank you to everybody who came in, who wouldn't normally come in, for feeding their views into the reviewers. There were 9 of them here, so it was very busy. Particular thanks go to Sarah and her team for running around on the day like there was no tomorrow. There was minute by minute for every 15 minutes of the day. for 4 days. It was really in-depth. The panel were very, very complimentary about us as a council, that we have got as far as we have so quickly, to have a council plan and a delivery plan, and have set a balanced budget and found some money to do things that are in our council plan. They thought was a terrific achievement, considering this authority was 2 months later getting into it than South Hams. So that was a huge compliment. There were other compliments there, but I will leave the Chief Exec to say some of those and some of the learning. Thank you, Chief Exec.
Thank you, Leader. I cannot say how pleased I am with the outcome of the peer review. It's a massively positive reflection on all of you, the councillors that represent the people of West Devon. And that is, after all, why we're all in this room today. So one of the things the peer team said was how well we are delivering for our communities. And that's what makes me proudest about this whole thing, that you work together really well as councillors. The member-to-member relationships are good, positive, constructive. Member and officer relationships are also good and constructive. We have really good governance, decision-making, performance management, wonderfully stable financial platform on which to build. We are in a truly good position, and it is really fabulous to get that reflection back from people just like us, other officers from other councils, other councillors from other councils. You know, they brought all their learning to bear, and they've given us some really helpful proposals on things that we can do to take forward. So I think it's a great platform. They've suggested that we should look at, well, those of you who were able to join the briefing yesterday will have heard them for yourselves, but you know, looking at the way in which we continue to develop members, looking at some of our advisory panels, really focusing on telling our story, and I think doing that with confidence now. I mean, I think I was hopeful that they would give us a positive feedback, but you always need to get that reassurance, I think, first. It's always better to make sure your delivery is better than the story about you, but I think the gap now needs to close. I think we really need to shout a bit more loud and proud. They use those words about what we are doing for our communities to support them at this time. They also challenged us, I think, to stick to delivering the plan. They were really clear. We have a very good plan which reflects the needs of our communities, reflects the values and ambitions of the new administration, but also carries forward a number of ambitions that have been with the council for a while. So we need to get stuck into that. We've got a great plan. We now need to get on with delivering it, not be distracted by lots of other things. It's always tempting to find lots of other things to do, but their challenge was, if you do, well, you need to take something off the list as well. Creating a bit of thinking space, well, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? So I'm looking forward to having the odd moment when we're not busily rushing around, but also to build on our community development work. We've got some great ideas. We've got wonderful communities who are resilient and already doing wonderful things for themselves, working and supporting them. Making sure that we're clear about who the key stakeholders are across West Devon and engaging them in our work. Using data a bit more clearly, and also around building on our OD plan as well. But one of the challenges was to become more of a learning organisation, and we will need to think about how we do that, and that will be partly about officers getting further engaged in sector-led improvement, but I think also encouraging members to go out and find out who are the top 5 places in the country for rural housing or climate change and biodiversity, so that we can take some of our great work to them, but also bring some of that back. There's some key dates which we need to do things by. So we will be receiving their report within the next 4 weeks. Then there is a timetable by which we're asked to publish that. And the expectation is that we'll do that by the 22nd of June. It's quite a tight timetable. So my proposal is that we should bring that to the Hub Committee on the 11th, simply to publish the report. We're then expected to develop an action plan in response. I think that we should do that in an iterative process. We should initially think about how we believe we should respond to that, and then actually we should have some conversations with our communities, key stakeholders and partners about what they think. So we will do an initial plan, I think, probably to the July meeting, and although it's slightly outside their timetable, bring back the finalised plan for Hub on the 24th of September. So thank you, Leader, and thank you to all of you members. It really was a really positive experience, and a great piece of teamwork between two councils and one organisation. Thank you.
Councillor Jory.
Thank you. I'd just like to respond to both the leader and the chief exec, really to echo those thoughts, that to have a group of your peers, both officers and political peers, to come and have a look at your council and to come back with such a glowing report on our progress and what we're doing is really pleasing. And I'd like to add my thanks to those of the leader and thank the chief exec and the senior leadership team, but also all of the staff across the two authorities who have made this possible. I'm also minded that the lead officer, in giving his final report yesterday, stressed that we could do none of this unless we had the right foundations in place, and we know we've worked very hard to get that set up. And I'd like people to sort of even cast back as far as the vision of those people who started T18 when it happened, with all of its problems and foibles, but the very fact that they thought about that at the time, the shared service between the two councils, sorting our financial situation out to the extent that we've managed to secure that, and the work that we did collaboratively in the last administration to bring us to this point. So all of those things have come together, and I congratulate everybody. I'm also really pleased to see that the chief exec is keen that we should not rest on our laurels and that we need to move forward from here and keep doing more of the same for the benefit of our communities. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Councillor Jory, and perhaps, if I may, as the acting mayor, if I can perhaps also say a couple of words on this subject. Got to live the dream, Mandy. So I must also add my thanks to the Chief Executive for the fantastic job that he's done since he's been with us, and of course his senior leadership team who've also done a fantastic job, and indeed all officers across both councils, and all of you as members, all working together as one team. And I think that is really important and has made a huge contribution to the success and a really good report. I just wish my school reports had been half as good as that. So well done, everybody. Fantastic. Move on to item 6, public questions, petitions and deputations. I'm not aware of any. Mr. White?
That's correct, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And item 7, questions and motions on notice. I'm not aware of any questions or notice received.
That's again correct, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Now we move on to item 9, which is the committee minutes. And we'll start with the overview and scrutiny meeting held on the 13th of February 2024. And can I please ask Councillor Kimber to present the minutes?
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the minutes of the meeting of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee held on the 13th of February 2024 be received and noted. They are ONS 24/23 to ONS 31/23 and can be found between pages 15 and 19. Could I have a seconder, please?
Thank you. Councillor Johnson, I think, was just pressed there. Mr. White, thank you. And we simply have to note those minutes. Thank you, Councillor Kimber. Moving on to the Council Tax Setting Committee meeting, which was held on the 22nd of February 2024. Those minutes were to be presented by the Mayor, but in her absence, I'm pleased to say that the leader is going to do that for us.
The leader didn't know that. Yeah. Sorry.
It's just one of those afternoons, I'm afraid, Councillor Newman, where there's very little warning about anything.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I can't even find. What page are they on? Oh, they're right in front of me. Right, thank you. I'd like to present the minutes of the Council Tax Setting meeting. That is CTSC 1/23 through to CTSC.4/23, and there are no recommendations to Council.
Thank you, and have I a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Renders. Sorry to put you on the spot there, Leader. Okay, and again, I think we're just asked to note those, Mr. White. Are we happy to note those minutes? Thank you. Okay, the Hub Committee meeting held on the 5th of March. And again, Councillor Ewens, I hope you've had some notice of this. I think you're going to present the minutes for us, please.
I have had notice of this one, thank you. I move that the minutes of the meeting of the Hub Committee held on the 5th of March 2024 be received and noted. They are HC 50/23 to HC 67/23 and can be found between pages 25 and 32, with the exception of recommendations HC 57/23, HC 62/23 and HC 67/23. May I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second, sorry.
In respect of recommendation HC 57/23, the Climate Adaptation Plan, I propose the following: that Council be recommended to endorse the Devon, Cornwall and Isles of Scilly Climate Adaptation Plan as set out at Appendix A of the agenda report presented to the Hub Committee meeting. May I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second.
Any debate on this, please?
Any debate, members? No? All happy?
We need to vote.
In that case, members, can we have a show of hands, please? We go to the vote.
(24 in favour, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. In respect of recommendation HC 62/23, Housing Benefit War Pensions Disregard Policy, I propose the following: that Council be recommended to adopt the Housing Benefit War Pensions Disregard Policy as set out at Appendix A of the agenda report presented to the Hub Committee meeting. May I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second.
And if there's any debate, please, members.
Any debate, members? Okay, we go to the vote. Please show.
(24 in favour, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. White.
In respect of recommendation HC 67/23, Fusion Lifestyle, this matter will be considered later on in the agenda as a standalone agenda item 16. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Right, we move to item number 10, which is the 2024-25 capital strategy, treasury management strategy and investment strategy. And it's one for me to report, to introduce. The report sets out details of the framework to be used by the Council to arrange and monitor its finances for the 24-25 financial year. The three strategies that make up the framework are capital, investment and treasury management. Comprehensive details of each strategy are set out in the report appendices, so I will provide just a brief overview of some of the key points of each strategy. The capital strategy sets out the Council's projected capital plans, which include a new railway station and integrated transport hub on the eastern edge of Oakhampton, and the repurposing of a council-owned property in Plymouth Road, Tavistock, from office accommodation to 3 residential units to support the council's temporary housing needs. The capital strategy also contains details of the council's borrowing levels and the capital financing requirement, which is the measure of the council's underlying need to borrow for the capital programme, is projected to be £23.7 million for 24-25. This includes borrowing for leisure, Wastefleet, Kilworthy Park, Tavistock temporary accommodation and 4 investment properties. At the end of March 2024, the Council was predicted to have external borrowing of £27 million, reducing to £26,371,000 at the end of March 2025. No new borrowing is envisaged during the next year, and the reduction in the balance outstanding is due to the minimum revenue provision or repayment of the capital element of the outstanding borrowing. The Treasury Management Strategy sets out a range of prudential indicators that enable members to scrutinise the Council's performance against the agreed indicators. One such indicator is the authorised limit for external debt, that represents a control on the maximum level of borrowing, with a proposal that it remains at £50 million in 2024-25. A further indicator is the proposed operational boundary borrowing limit of £35 million, beyond which external debt is not normally expected to exceed. The remaining indicators are set out in the Treasury Management Strategy. Turning now to the investment strategy, this sets out limits and policies to explain where the Council will invest its surplus funds and allows members to assess the Council's investments and decisions taken. The Council's policy on Treasury investments is to prioritise security and liquidity over yield, and proposes to continue to invest its money in banks and building societies within the UK, in addition to the money market funds. The Council had a sum of £34 million invested at the end of January 24, and the budget for investment income has been increased to £800,000 in the next financial year to reflect the increase in interest rates. Decisions on treasury management, investment and borrowing are made daily and are therefore delegated to the Section 151 officer and finance staff, who must act in line with the financial strategies approved by Council. External Treasury management training was arranged for all members in November 23, and further training will be arranged on an annual basis. I confirm that the Audit and Governance Committee scrutinised the 3 strategies at their meeting last week and have recommended approval to full Council today. And finally, Mayor, talking to myself now, the report recommendations are set out on page 33 of the agenda papers and recommend that the Council approves the 3 strategies for 2024-25 and that delegated authority be given to the Section 151 officer in consultation with the Leader of the Council and the Hub Committee member for Resources to make any minor amendments to these strategies, if required, throughout the financial year. Any questions, please? No? No questions. Am I allowed to move the recommendations? I move the 2 recommendations that I've just described. And seconder, if I may, please. Thank you, Leader. Any debate, members? Thank you. Councillor Ewens?
I would just like to thank you for a very informative opening to this, and to thank our staff, our Section 151 officer and Mrs Henstock for all the work they do and the teamwork that you all put together to put this report. As everyone knows, I'm a complete treasury management freak, so I'm delighted at how it's going, and I realise that it may start to go down later this year. The figure was that Mrs Buckle talked about used to be September, but I now believe it may be August when interest rates start to drop, the Bank of England said the other day. So, you know, it may come back, so we may not, but I know she has predicted wisely, as she always does, and that this council is in very safe, capable hands. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Leader, for those kind words, and you're absolutely right. We have a brilliant Section 151 officer, Mrs Henstock, the whole team, who do a fabulous job on a consistent basis, year in and year out. So thank you, and I agree with you. Any other debate, please, members? Councillor Cheadle.
Well, at the risk of the finance staff blushing again, we did ask at the audit committee where West Devon stood in a sort of league table of financial management. And the auditors who audit several councils were hugely complimentary and said that if there was such a league table, we'd be at or near the top of it. So I think it's a credit to the finance staff for putting us in that position, and that was reinforced by the peer review.
Thank you, Councillor Cheadle. Any further debate, members? Then we can go to the vote. Please show.
$25 in favour, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr White. Moving on to item 11, the annual review of the Health and Safety Policy Statement. Councillor Ewings, please.
I thought it was Councillor Leach, as he's here.
Councillor Leach, my apologies, it says Councillor Ewings here, but
well,
can I just say, Councillor Leach, it's great.
It's another surprise.
Another surprise.
I hadn't prepared for this one at all, so I do apologise.
Can I just say, don't worry about that. It's just great that you're here with us this afternoon.
Thank you. I can, however, if I can find it on this wonderful machine. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Say, Councillor Leach, we have got Mr Luscombe online as well. That
might be a very good idea if I could ask Mr Luscombe to start this off and then I'll move the recommendation.
Yeah, that's very kind of you. Mr Luscombe, are you happy to kick us off?
Yes, of course, Chair, happy to do so. This is the annual review of the Health and Safety Policy Statement. We're required to review our Health and Safety Policy Statement annually as a requirement of the Health and Safety regulations and recommendations by the Health and Safety Executive who govern us. This year's report is straightforward in the sense that we are required to do an annual review, although this year I haven't changed any items within the statement, so it reads as the same as last year. Last year, members may recall who were with us that we've made some amendments to reflect the fact that members have the same status as staff when we are reading through and considering the health and safety legislation. The report was clarified last year to show that. And one thing I might add to this, which is more recent from when the report was written, is that today the head of member services and myself had a discussion around member training. Members may recall receiving some training way back when they did their inductions on that pretty hectic week where I think everything was thrown at you and the health and safety part was relatively small. What we're going to do is over the next 6 weeks come up with some sessions for members which you can come to or tune into, which will give members a bit more information on their own personal health and safety, which we can cover. And if members have got any specific items that they would wish to be covered in those sessions, then please let me know or let Daryl know, and we can make sure that that's accommodated. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Luscombe. Councillor Leach, have you got anything that you wish to add at this point?
Actually, the only thing within this report that I was going to bring up was what Mr. Luscombe's just said. I know this is quite clearly in this report. It covers everybody, including members. And one of my concerns was the amount of training members have had, especially for lone working. So I think people who go to people's houses, etc., etc. Are we supposed to do proper risk assessments, etc.? So Mr. Luscombe's basically said, hopefully, we're going to take more training forward for members.
Thank you, Councillor Leach. Any questions, please, members? No? Okay. Councillor Leach, would you like to move the recommendation, please?
Yes, I'd like the council move the council recommendation for the council agree to adopt the updated policy statement and that it's signed by the head of paid services and the leader of the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any debate, please, members? So, a seconder, please.
Happy to second. Come on.
Thank you. Right. Any debate, members? Councillor Ewing.
I would just like to thank Mr. Luscombe and welcome his initiatives around future training for members with regard to health and safety, and probably his whole department for works that they do, because theirs is all legislative, got it out, and it is all set. So it is useful for members to be able to know and understand what some of that is. Now we're settled in a bit more and that we can go further with the training.
Thank you. Any other debate, members? No? Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour, please show.
That's unanimous. Thank you, Matt.
Item 12 is the pay policy statement. It's got your name here, Councillor Ewens. I hope you're ready for this one.
I am ready for this one, but I'm wondering where Mr. Wilson is, unless I have Claire today. Claire, are you covering for Andy? You'll do it. You can't do your own pay thing. Mind you, Councillor Edmonds is doing his own thing, so... Right, this is the pay policy statement. It is a legal requirement every year for us to do this under Section 38 of the Localism Act 2011 to adopt, publish a pay policy statement each year before the 31st of May. The first thing I'd like to say is this is not an opportunity to query how much the Chief Executive is paid. It is not about that at all. It is about the pay ratios that are seen as an important indicator of organisational health, and where differentials become excessive, this is seen as potentially damaging. So the purpose of the pay policy statement is to track the remuneration of the senior leadership team and report how their pay compares to that of other employees. Our pay ratios have improved as at March 23 compared to the previous reporting period, March 22, which is positive and reflects the work undertaken by the Council to ensure that all employees are recognised and rewarded appropriately. The report proposes that the Council adopts the pay policy statement attached to Appendix A. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Leader. Any questions, please, members? No? Okay. Would you like to propose the recommendations, please?
I would like to propose recommendations as set out on page 109 of the agenda, and that's number 1, adopts the pay policy statement for 23-24 as set out at Appendix A, and 2, notes a narrowing in pay differentials compared to the previous 12 months.
Thank you. Have I a seconder, please?
Happy to second.
Thank you, Councillor Renders. And any debate, please?
I would just like to say that during the year as leader, because I wasn't sure about all this bit, and once we knew the peer challenge was coming, I felt I ought to ask a few questions of Mr. Wilson, because I wasn't sure of my remit and stance on this. But one of my questions to him was, bearing in mind Birmingham's situation, and I think Nottingham is another one, and I'm not sure if it's Sunderland, have all had, Middlesbrough actually, have all had huge issues with their pay for women and for men and the differentials between those. Mr. Wilson has confirmed to me that actually we have nothing to worry about in this authority, which actually says to me that we have always been a forward-thinking and we recognise women in the workplace and we pay them accordingly and fairly. And to me, that is a huge delight that we are an authority that recognises that. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Any other debate, members? No, thank you. Right, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour of the recommendation, please show.
That is also unanimous. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. White. Right, item number 13, which is the calendar of meetings for 2024-25. And again, I come to you, Leader, for an introduction, please.
Thank you very much. This is very simple, basically. It's the calendar for next year. This, I think, has been through 5 different people to check the dates are correct and that we're not having meetings on bank holidays or anything odd. So this is your calendar of meetings for the year 24-25. They're very self-explanatory, so I hope everybody gets them in their diaries and takes annual leave if they're working accordingly. So the recommendation is that Council be recommended to approve the draft calendar of meetings for 2024-25 as presented at Appendix A.
Thank you, Leader. Any questions, please? Well, questions, then I was going to come back for you to move the recommendation. Thank you, Leader. Any questions, please, members? No? So I'll come back to you now, Leader, to move the recommendation, if you would kindly.
Thank you. I've already moved that one. I've read that one off.
Thank
so,
you.
Yes, please.
And can I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second.
Thank you, Councillor Renders. Any debate, please, members? No. Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour of the recommendation?
That's unanimous again. Thank you, Mayor.
Item 14 is the political composition and 6-month member meeting attendance rule. And Councillor Ewan, again, please.
Thank you very much. This is the political composition and 6-month meeting attendance rule. The report is set out on separate report, pages 1 to 3 within our agendas. And the recommendation is that council is recommended to note the revised political composition of the council as set out in the paragraph 2.1 below, following the resignation from the Borough Council of Mr. Pete Squire.
Thank you, Councillor Ewan. Before I get a seconder, can I just ask, are there any questions? In that case, can I have a seconder for the recommendation? Thank you, Councillor
Happy to
Renders.
second.
Thank you, Councillor Renders. Any debate, members? In that case, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour, please show.
As a noting report, Mayor, that's clearly carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White. Item 15. Right, now we come to the exclusion of the public and press. So we need to kind of propose a motion here for that exclusion. Have I a... Thank you. Okay, all in favour?
That's clearly carried to exclude the public and press. Thank you, members.
I just